Recently, Harvey, and shout out to Harvey over at Your World, did a video about the actress Mayim Bialik, who was upset because at the Oscars they decided to not wear a yellow ribbon signifying what was going over there in Palestine and Israel. And he did a very good job on that video and basically talking about how people like herself are just very arrogant and feel like everything and all the focus should be directly and solely on them. And who would have thought the next day after I saw that video that this particular topic that I'm about to talk about would fall into my lap. Now, I think I've only talked about Bill Maher probably one time on my channel. And it was so long ago, I can't even remember what it was I was talking about when it came to him. But I would not be surprised if Harvey talked about this particular topic and got his commentary out before I have a chance to do so. And I'm definitely going to see what he has to say because he stays on Bill Maher's head, and understandably why. So what has recently happened with Bill Maher is he's basically showed his arrogance again when it relates to the Oscars. So much, in fact, that somebody ended up losing their job behind this. So what happened was Bill Maher ended up firing his CAA, which I believe is his agent or something like that, after he was not invited to an Oscar party. So just like Mayim Bialik, who got upset because people didn't wear a yellow ribbon at the Oscars, Bill Maher ended up firing someone who worked for him because he was not invited to the Oscar party. I don't know, maybe he's upset because his agent or whoever this person is did not get him an invitation to this party, or whatever the case may be. Maybe it's just that he wasn't invited and nobody wanted him there. Well, you know what? Good for the party for uninviting him, but it's also messed up at the same time that somebody had to lose their job behind this at the same time. So I'm gonna go ahead now and read this article coming from the Hollywood Reporter. Bill Maher has fired CAA. Sources say the host of HBO Real Time fired CAA, his reps for more than 2 decades, on Monday after he was not invited to CEO Brian Lord's private Oscar party at his home on Saturday night. Maher, according to sources, was furious that he was snubbed for the event, which was scheduled opposite the Motion Picture and Television Fund's night before the bash. The party at Lord's home drew the likes of J.J. Abrams, Barry Diller, Kamala Harris, Margot Robbie, Bob Iger, Alan Bergman, Dana Walden, Brian Robbins, Jason Blum, Brian Grazer, Donna Langley, Pam Abdi, and such CAA clients as Julia Roberts and Jennifer Aniston, among others, according to industry newsletter Puck. Lord's private party came a day after CAA toasted nominees including Robbie, Ryan Gosling, Cillian Murphy, Jeffrey Wright, Annette Bening, Carey Mulligan, Emily Blunt, Danielle Brooks, Jodie Foster, and Da'Vine Joy Randolph, among others, on Friday night at Sunset Tower. Maher was seen Friday night at WME's Oscar party at Hearst Estate in Beverly Hills. So he was already at another party, but he's upset because he didn't go to this one. And he ended up firing CAA behind this. Apparently an agency he's worked with for 2 decades, all because he couldn't get an invite to a private party. Talk about very egotistical indeed. Maher had been rep at CAA by Stephen Lafferty, who also serves as the agency's head of television. News of Maher's ditching CAA comes after the agency recently negotiated a 2-year extension for Real Time. You know what I would do? I would scrap it. That's what I would do. If you want to fire me because you couldn't get to an Oscar party, well, I would be ditching your contract. But then again, knowing Bill Maher, especially how he is, he would probably find a way to sue them for that. Which takes the weekly talk show through its 24th season in 2026. The series is one of HBO's longest running originals. It launched in 2003 and is second in the premium cable network's history, behind only the recently concluded Real Sports with Brian Gumbel in terms of the number of seasons it has ran. Reps for Maher did not immediately respond to THR's request for comment. I swear the ego on this dude is crazy. He actually fired an agency he was with for over 20 years that has helped him keep these jobs and get these contracts that keeps him living lavishly for all these years for his mid-show and his mid-talent having ass. And this is how he decides to repay them, by firing them because he couldn't go to an Oscar party. So he probably looked at that list and was like, how dare you not invite me? I'm more important than some of the people that's on this list, and you don't invite me. But see, this is how a lot of them get down. They are literally showing their ass right now, and have been ever since everything's been going on over there. They feel like they are entitled. It's the entitlement that is an issue for a lot of people. Bill Maher, hardly anybody really takes you seriously anymore. I can honestly say I have never watched one episode of his show. I'm more familiar with some of the guests that he has on his show than his show itself. But we all know at the same time too, and Harvey definitely can attest to this because he talks about it a lot, Bill Maher is very anti-black. Very anti-black. With some of the digs that he says, or the things that he says, whether to us as a community or even to some of the black guests that he has on his show, and he tries to chalk it up as it being a joke. The only joke is the one who's the host of that show, and has been one for quite some time. I wish I would get so mad that I didn't get invited to something that I ended up firing the agency that I worked with that has helped me for so long and helped me get these gigs and keep these gigs and make this money for over 20 years because I didn't get invited somewhere. And it's not like his agency probably didn't try to get him in. The people who was there most likely just didn't want him there. But see, the thing is, Bill Maher sounds like the type of person that has probably burnt a lot of bridges over the years and probably thinks that he didn't, but still feels that even if he knew he did, that he feels that he's entitled to be wherever he goes. Like someone's supposed to just roll out the red carpet for him and lift up a champagne glass anytime he walks into a room. You're not that important, Bill. You never really were. To be quite honest, your guests that you bring on your show to some degree are the ones that keep you somewhat relevant. Bill Maher kind of reminds me of I guess you could say the mainstream version of Vlad, if that makes sense. That's kind of what he reminds me of. Maybe not as eccentric or out there like that as Vlad when it comes to certain topics, but he's right there kind of like on that spectrum, because Vlad is the same type of way as well, got that ego and think they're better than everybody. And speaking of Vlad, I know y'all heard about what he recently did when it came to Shannon Sharpe, up there pocket watching again because of that Cat Williams interview. And I think I don't know if he did an interview with him or not, but either way, Vlad's interviews or his numbers are nowhere near as what they used to be. Thank God. Maybe that's a sign of good and great things to come. But he was up there pocket watching Shannon Sharpe, and I forgot, trying to find out how much money he made from the Cat Williams interview, as if his could even compare. I think Shannon Sharpe's interview with Cat Williams did more numbers in 1 month than Vlad has done probably in the last year, if we're being completely honest. Which, by the way, in case y'all are unaware, the last time I checked Shannon Sharpe's numbers for that Cat Williams interviews, and I'm talking about the full interview, it was sitting at like 61 million plus views, and it hasn't even been up for 2.5 months now, maybe going on 3 months, or maybe not even 3 months, maybe 2, going on 2.5 months. So, there you have it. But back to Bill Maher. Again, the ego that this dude has to fire his agency because he didn't get invited to a party says a lot. If he'll fire his agency for not getting invited to a party, it makes you wonder what else is going on behind the scenes. Like, say, for the people that possibly work for him. The people who work for him, as far as like his show goes, like behind the scenes, they should be very worried if he would do that. Now, keep in mind, this CAA, that's a big deal. That, like, the CAA, those are the people that literally is like one of the biggest agencies in the Hollywood industry, like the entertainment industry. Like, they are like that go-to when you really make it big. those are the people that are attached to that. That's why when all those people that I was naming that was at that party, a lot of them are attached to that CAA. And he went and fired them. So my thing is, Bill Maher, are you going to be your own representation? Like, who's going to represent him now? Honestly, it should be no one. If anything, in a perfect world, this would be a self-blackballing of Bill Maher. In a perfect world, because we know this world isn't perfect, so I know he's going to find a way to somewhat bounce back from this, and people are going to overlook it like it didn't even happen. But this says a lot about his character, that he would get that upset over something so minuscule as not being invited to a party. I wish I would. And this thing is, it said that he was at another party, but for some reason he must have felt like he had to or should have been invited to this one. Maybe he's been invited in the past and was able to go, but this time he wasn't able to go, and now he ended up firing his agency. That's crazy. That is insane. But like I said, it speaks to his character or lack thereof.